Hi folks, it's Switchback. As cold weather approaches, a lot of people hunker down, afraid of being out in the cold. But it doesn't have to be that way. Yes, in some places it is not safe to be out hiking or camping when it's cold. But in many places and with the right measures, it certainly can be, and it can still be fun. It is easier to stay warm than it is to get warm. So a few times that you might get cold, if you're hiking, when you take a break, when you're transitioning to downhill, as the sun goes down, when you're just hanging out in camp, and when you first get out of your tent, your sleeping bag, all of that good stuff. You've probably heard that layers are really important in the cold. Let's start from the inside out. You want a good solid base layer, and you're gonna want this to be made of merino wool or some kind of synthetic material. Next is your mid layer, and this will usually be fleece or a puffy, and a puffy is gonna be a down or synthetic filled jacket. Personally, I have a few different thicknesses, and if it's genuinely really cold, you might actually even need a parka, essentially a very turbo puffy. Outside of that, you're gonna put on a shell. And these are not going to be super breathable, so keep that in mind. In really cold places, you might need a thicker one, something that is a little bit more insulated versus one that's just the shell. You might need more than one layer of socks, and you can even do sock liners if you want. Make sure that you do have spares to change into in case the ones that you're wearing get wet. On the bottom, you can do base layers there, a fleece layer of pants, and then rain pants or shell over that, and even some snow gaiters if you're gonna be in light and fluffy snow. And these are gonna go from the knee down to help protect you from getting as wet from that snow and getting it in your boots. Note that none of these included cotton. Cotton will hold on to moisture and make you cold really fast. And I have a video up here explaining it a little bit more in depth. Wear proper footwear for the circumstance. So a standard waterproof boot isn't gonna cut it in deep, thick, wet snow. It'll work well for muddy or puddle kind of conditions, and it will wet out at some point. Footwear is going to be part of your layering system. For true winter conditions, I personally wear Oboz Bridger 9-inch insulated boots. I'll put a link to those down in the description. Now, mind you that the winter hikes that I do sometimes will require snowshoes or micro spikes, but never crampons. And that's a whole other subset of what kinds of boots that you would need that are appropriate for that. Make sure that you try on whatever boots you're going to wear with the socks that you're gonna wear them with to make sure that they fit properly and that they're not gonna be too snug, too loose, any of that. Keep your head, your hands, and your feet warm. Your head is super duper vascular, and your hands and feet are very heavy on surface area, which means that there's a lot of heat loss there. By keeping those warm, it helps to keep our core warm. You can use things like gloves, mittens, a balaclava, neck gaiter, hand and foot warmers. There are electric gloves, socks, coats, and vests out there. I even have an electric hand warmer. That one I would take backpacking, probably the other stuff better just for car camping. Definitely not ideal for while you're actually hiking, better when you're in camp, hanging out. When you're going out on a hike, you're gonna wanna start cool, and you should feel cool for probably the first 10 minutes or so, but if you start too warm, you're gonna be shedding layers really quickly. If you do find yourself sweating, start shedding those layers. Keep them handy for when you stop, because you're probably gonna wanna get them on again as your body slows down. When you're taking a break from your hike, look for a sunny spot that's sheltered from any wind. Use something to sit on, like an insulated pad, a food cozy, or even a sleeping pad. Even when you're in a chair or a hammock, having insulation underneath you is probably gonna be more comfortable. Having an inflatable pad or a closed cell-found pad will work better than putting something like a blanket underneath you, because the blanket is going to collapse under your weight and won't have that air trapped in there that's actually gonna be what provides that insulation. Make sure that you're staying well hydrated. It's very easy to underhydrate when you're cold, and this can actually lower your blood volume and make it harder for you to stay warm. With that, avoid alcohol. Alcohol will actually dehydrate you and it will also interfere with your body's temperature regulation systems. If you're someone who typically squats to pee, then consider using a pee device that will allow you to go without having to drop your pants. I prefer the pee style. If you anticipate that it may rain or you have water crossings, take a pack liner or a trash compactor bag to use to put your sleeping bag, your insulating layers, your sleep clothes, and anything else that needs to stay dry. If it is going to rain, put on your rain gear before you get wet. If it's cold during the day, you may need to keep your water filter and your electronics on you in order to keep them from getting too cold or even freezing, which can damage your filter. You might even want to change your water treatment strategy if it's going to be too cold, if your water filter really is going to be at risk for freezing. Once you're in camp and you're all set up and you're no longer moving and sweating at the same clip that you were, then change out of those sweaty base layers and ideally clean off any dirt and sweat as best you can. If it is safe and allowed, you can always build a fire. Take some warm foods and beverages and make sure that you're getting enough calories to make up for the increased calorie burn for wetter or snowy conditions and for your body just trying to stay warm in the cold. You might need to use a liquid fuel stove rather than a canister stove. I personally use the MSR Whisper Light. These stoves will require more skill than a canister stove, so make sure that you practice this at home before you're out on the trail.
Ooh.
Have a blanket or even your sleeping bag or your quilt to use while you're in camp. I love my Get Out Gear blanket. You can even put it inside of your sleeping bag or your quilt to keep you that much warmer and take up that extra space. Now this will get you through the daytime, but what about nighttime? In this video up here, I talk about ways to keep yourself warm when you're sleeping outside in the cold. Be sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss anything, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Am I even? Yeah, I am. Okay. Okay. Danger.